Welcome to Medicine with the Metals. I'm Mark, and this is Michelle. Join us on our psychedelic journeys.
Hey, babe.
Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. We have got a very busy week always. This week we're going to be planning for PsyCon.
PsyCon.
We're going to be in Vegas with our producers, Brian and Shayna. We're going to be representing. We got a booth there. It's going to be at the arena.
Las Vegas Convention Center.
Oh, yeah, the Las Vegas Convention Center. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a
blast. We get to meet Brian and Shayna in person.
Mm-hmm. Yay!
Yay! Yeah. We're really excited. We're going to be in a booth. We've got our own booth, and then next to us, we've got Kirby Unchurched. That's right. And we're doing lots of education with him, and it's just a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Cool speakers going to be at PsyCon. I can't wait to hear from Oldham Beckham.
From who?
Beckham.
Omar.
Omar.
Is that his name? What's his name?
Odom.
Lamar Odom. Right?
Lamar Odom.
Why do you keep saying Beckham? Okay, I do Odom, right?
Odom, yeah.
Okay, so he was a basketball player, but more famously, he's known for being married to one of the Kardashians. Mm-hmm. And he had a serious opioid addiction and went to plant medicines. And his story is really beautiful. He actually has a documentary out on Netflix, maybe.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and he's going to be a speaker there, and I can't wait to hear him.
There's going to be a lot of good speakers there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a good time.
We'll be back with Ray Kapowski. Right after this.
Today's guest is a life coach specializing in spiritual and personal empowerment. He's written a great book, Universal Guide to Healthy, Selfish, Slashed Out Relationship Partnership. Today we've got Ray Kapowski.
Kapowski. Love that name. How about you?
I love that name.
Me too.
Thanks, Ray, for coming on.
How you doing, Ray?
Hey, I'm fantastic, guys. Thanks a lot.
Well, tell us a little about yourself.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
We love having you here. Gina told me a little bit about you a few weeks ago, and I saw your book. I found it really interesting, and reached out, and we probably could have talked for about 10 hours, but we had to cut it short. And why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, tell people who you are, and a little bit about your book, and we'll go from there.
So, Ray Kapowski, I'm a Universal Channel. I've been working as a relationship coach for a lot of years. And over that period of time, I recognized that relationships were not doing it anymore. So I made a big switch over to partnership.
Okay, can you start out first by telling us when you're a channel, what does that mean?
So channeling is an interesting thing. It is, okay, I can tell you the difference, what happens to me. A lot of times my language is stunted. I can stutter. I can do all this kind of thing. I'm off base. But when it comes down to really giving somebody some information when it's important, when it's clear, it's almost as if something takes over with me. Sometimes I'll see pictures. Sometimes I'll hear sounds or words or something. Sometimes it's entire sentences where it feels like I'm being pushed to the side, and me and whoever I'm talking to get to hear some of this stuff for the first time. A lot of times it's really good. I go, hey, these guys are pretty cool, and so I don't understand. Now, I've heard from a lot of other people that are mediums and do all this kind of stuff, and they seem to have a very clear picture of what it is that they do. Sometimes I feel as though they're authentic, and sometimes I feel as though it's something that they've studied or did something. I don't know what goes on with me. Okay, I don't understand it, and so I just let it go, and I enjoy it.
So, how old were you when you found this gift?
I think I've always had something. I'm the kind of person that life just keeps going on with me. I people notice things about me. When I was very young, I was asked. I worked at the guys. I'm having a hard time. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, no problem.
It's weird. This shouldn't happen. This I shouldn't have a problem. You know what's going on right now? is that I'm connected to this book.
Hmm.
I'm connected to pitching the book, and it's not comfortable for me.
Hmm.
Okay. I'll get it. I'll be back. So, what was the question?
Channeling,
When you realized that you had this gift.
this gift of channeling.
I wish it would happen right now.
Perfect timing for everything, right?
Yeah. It's weird because when we're talking, just regular talking, I don't have any problem. And here I'm trying to do something. I feel like I'm trying to impress people. This is bullshit. What's that?
We're just
Impressing
having a
nobody.
conversation.
Totally understandable.
Yeah. I'm surprised that I feel like this.
Yeah, we could talk about something else too. We can move on to the book if you want to jump right into it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
I don't know. I apologize for this.
Do
This
not
is weird.
apologize. It is okay.
Okay.
Do you feel like something's coming through? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do feel out of sorts right now. So it is so many things. There's so many things that are going on. Okay, let's just do it.
You want to just? Why don't we jump into the book? You want to do that?
Sure.
Okay. So we've got your book here, Universal Guide to a Healthy, Selfish, and then it's slashed out relationship and put together with partnership. Can you tell us a little bit about this book and what brought you to write it before we get into the bones of the book?
Okay. All right. So I started out doing relationship counseling, and I recognized that something was going on with all the people that were coming to me. Everybody that came to me was probably about 35 to anywhere from 35 to 50 years old, 60 years old. And every single person that came to me was asking for one thing. They were asking, how do we fix what we did? And so I kept, I would try and help them out. And they came for tools, and I would try to give them tools about different situations, give them an idea of what to do together to fix whatever was going on. And I kept hearing this voice that was telling me that, why aren't they asking how not to do it? What do you do so that you don't have to fix everything? The idea about partnership came as a result of that because it was connected to the idea of a business deal. Somebody that's in a business they're going to talk to their partner, figure out what it is that they want to do, figure out how they're going to handle a situation, and then go in and do it for the betterment of the business. They're going to be connected to their partnership. Connecting with your partner, making sure that your partner is comfortable, making sure that your partner is working at their best. And I started to realize this. And once I started to realize that, then I started to get young people. And I never had anybody coming to me that was young. And I started getting people in their 20s, and they were asking for the same thing that the older people were doing. They were asking how to fix things. And the information was, well, they don't have enough backlog of negativity and bad experiences to really want to have to dedicate their time to fixing something. If I could stop them in their tracks, if I could say, hang on a second, first off, how about if we talk about not having to fix it? How about if we talk about the fact that you two can be partners? You can decide to be partners. You can decide what it is that you value about each other, and then you can protect what it is that you want. Now, why would you do that? Why would you go through all that paces? And you could only do that for yourself. And that's where the selfishness part came in. The idea that I'm going to take care of my partner, the idea that I'm going to focus on what we're doing and my partner's strengths and weaknesses are all going to come back to me. They're going to affect me. So that's why I want to do these kinds of things. And so the book started out well over 300 pages. And I'm looking at it and I couldn't follow it. And I don't know what the hell I was talking about. And so I said, wait, the next step was to cut it back down. So I took 300 pages and I put it into a thing that ended up a booklet. It was like 27 pages. And that made sense. And then the voices said, nobody's going to take it seriously. Nobody's going to buy it. All right. So I tore that apart, and I thought, with the book, I'm going to really talk to them about, from me, from my heart. And a lot of people who know me, who've read the book already, say it's like having a conversation with me. It's just, and the way that it was written, that it looks poetic, it looks like poetry. I had no control over any of that. Every bit of the way that the book is written, like if I wrote out a sentence, I got brought back to that sentence, and the sentence got broken up, and the sentences are on different levels. So as you read the book, you're going to recognize that there's very few paragraphs. There's sentences that follow one after the other, but they connect too. So they make sense. They make sense at the first part. When you put the second line together, that makes sense. The third line may actually end up a full-on sentence, but each one of them can stand alone. So it was a lot of fun. And, did you see the caricatures?
Yeah,
Yes.
and what I love about it too is that it makes for a very easy read.
Easy read. Very easy.
easy read, and you can just get right through it, and it's humorous.
And what I like is about the valid points. I mean, the points that, like a lot of things I took, and I didn't read a lot of the book, but a great point I took out of the book was how men like always want to fix, and women just want to tell their story. And we kind of want to fix that story. So when they're telling us the story, we tend to shut them off because we want to fix something, but they just want to tell us. So,
Yeah, and
just
I actually highlighted, if you don't mind, if I could read it, a part of this.
Please.
This was from page 25. Partnership will make you aware of the natural balance between men and women. Women are crazy. They never let anything go. If you make a point in a conversation, she will move it in another direction. She hates it when you try to fix something. She just wants you to listen. Men shut down. They get pissed off when you need to talk. They want to be in charge. They sometimes use physical strength, yelling, and abusive language to get what they want. I mean, you nailed it right there.
I was asked a long time ago. I had a woman come to me a while ago, and she asked me to speak at a women's convention. And it was quite a few, she said she knew me. She knows that I just get up and I talk, and, I don't really have an agenda or something specific. I just open up my mouth and I start to talk when I'm comfortable. So she said, what would you like to talk about? And I said, I wanted to talk about why women never let anything go. And she said, there's going to be several hundred women there. Yeah, I got it. He said, but the reason that women don't let anything go is because it's not complete. Whatever the issue was handled as best as we know how, in accordance with what we know about relationships. Yeah. And guys are taught that when a woman is upset, the best that we've come up with are flowers and candy. And then we talk to each other, and then something happens, something gets said that's probably the worst thing that I can imagine for people to say to each other. They say, are you okay? And the other person says, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. And that's a lie. But nobody knows that it is a lie. Nobody knows that it's supposed to go deeper. At that point, what we're supposed to do is find out what was triggered that caused the problem. People think that the issues are the problem. The issues are never the problem. The issues are an opportunity. Whatever it is that you're going through, that's an opportunity to fix it, to work together, to get closer to each other, and then to find out what the actual problem is. Because what women are saying is that it's not about the issue that you just did to me. It's not what you did. It's how you made me feel. So the issue, hey, would you guys want to do something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about if can I use the two of you?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I get used all the time.
All right. Okay, so we'll talk about that later. Okay, so you guys, I want to get to a point with this, and I think it might be a good way to do this. Okay, so the two of you are partners. You guys have got you got a podcast, and Mark, Michelle, you both know what each other is good at as far as this is concerned. You know how to back each other. You know how to play off of each other. Let's just say that. Let's just say that one of you came up one day and you said, "You know something? I don't want." Hang on a second. Here we go. Okay. All right. So one of you said, I cut out Alabama. We're not going to send the podcast to Alabama. Okay. And the other one said, let's say Mark said, we're not going to send the podcast to Alabama. Michelle said, it's not a bad idea, actually. Right now, that's probably not a bad idea. And so, okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're not going to send it. Now, the other part of that thing is that whether she sees it or not, Michelle is going to say, you made a decision without me. You made a decision about doing this without me. And I feel whatever she would feel. Unimportant, not a partner, irrelevant in the situation. She might feel fear. She might feel whatever it is that she's feeling as a result of making a decision like that. Now, inside a partnership, what Mark would do is come up to Michelle and he would say, hey, listen, I really value your thought. Maybe not say that, but that would be the incentive. I really want to know what you think about Alabama right now. I want to find out what you think about this, and we'll make a decision together. Now, if he did that, if he came back and did that, Michelle might feel that, oh, okay, okay, so he made a mistake. It ain't a big deal, and we're partners and all that. But what happened there is that an insecurity that Michelle felt as a result of that issue, that insecurity is always there. That insecurity is something that we bring constantly. It's something that is always a part of us. It was brought to the surface because she wasn't included in on the conversation. She has a place. She has security, feeling like we're always talking to each other. We come back and forth. We care about each other. But here it was, and it's like all of a sudden, do you really care about me? Are we really partners? That was the issue. The insecurity starts to bubble up. So if you fix the insecurity within that issue, if you say, oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I should have talked to you ahead of time, and I love you and all that. You're my partner. That will take care of the insecurity that is connected to that particular issue. Mm-hmm. It won't touch the insecurity that a person brings to a situation. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the way to fix that inside a partnership is to wait. Take a little time, a week or so. And then you come back together and you say, a week or so ago, I recognized that some insecurity came up in you. And I don't even remember what the story was about. I forget what we talked about, but this insecurity came popping up. And I would like to address that insecurity. I'd like to tell you what you mean to me. I'd like to tell you how much I value you. I want to tell you that, you're smart, you're beautiful, you are driven, you're fantastic, all these kinds of things. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I recognize that everybody carries insecurity, but I don't necessarily want you to feel insecure with me. I want a partnership to be solid as much as possible. I want you to feel as though I've got your back and that I am working to have the best partnership that I can have. Now, guys, when you do that kind of thing, you actually hit the core of what somebody is feeling. We come with our fears. We come with insecurity. Everybody comes feeling alone. Everybody feels disconnected. Yeah. So, but do we have to do that within our partnership? Is that what we need to do? We can handle that within our partnership and make each other feel cared for and build the best partnership that we can have. Making sense?
Yeah.
Makes total sense.
And I love the partnership is such a good word. It really is, especially when it's really long term, you know, and a lot of these things you're mentioning, these triggers and things are just traumas that we have
Brought
evolved
with
with
us.
as we carry down this path. So have psychedelics helped you dive into any of this a little deeper?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, I haven't done anything. I've been sober for 40 years, but the stuff that I did before, yeah, I did LSD 25. I stopped doing acid when they started adding what the hell was it called? Strychnine and things like that. When it became more of a party drug,
Yeah.
is when I stopped doing it. I did it a couple times at concerts and things, but I think being who I am, the beginning stages of who I am, I really didn't have a good time with it. I went much, much deeper than people around me. I don't remember an awful lot of what was happening uh, on the outside, like that person, but inside, it was always pretty heavy duty. So yeah, it had a really drastic, dramatic effect on me, and I
Could I-
think I think that I think that that's where a lot of my connection comes from that.
I love how you say then you come back a week later and address the core issue. Because
Right?
to me, it seems like if you do that, then the next time something comes up where my insecurity comes up, I'm going to remember that. And I'm going to remember that core conversation of he values who I am. He values my contribution to this partnership. And I'm going to remember that when I feel insecure the next time.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. And those are the kinds of things that you talk about. You plan that kind of thing ahead of time. When it happens, you don't necessarily remember it, but you talk about the fact that, when we are having issues, when we're having problems, we're going to stop what it is that we're doing. Whatever it is, whatever negativity is there, we're going to have the tools to say, hang on a second, is this what we want to do? Is this going to be beneficial for us? A lot of times when people argue or where people have patterns that are negative patterns, all someone really needs to do is say, hang on a second, before you go any further, tell me you love me. Tell me you want to be my partner. Or explain to me that if it's a negative thing, which happens quite often, there's some really negative, abusive kinds of things that come in patterns. So a person gets a little upset, and then the ball starts to roll, and it rolls until it stops. We think that we're supposed to, feel the feelings until they go away. We're supposed to get through them and all that kind of stuff, and it's a waste of time. It's a waste of feelings. So if you're if you're going through something and you can stop somebody, if you can turn to your partner in a really heated moment and say, hang on a second, if we're going to do this, you tell me how that's going to help us out. And if I think that that's going to help us out, I'll let you do it. You're going to be abusive to me. I want to know what you think we're going to get out of this. And if it's no good, then I'm not going to do it.
Well,
It's such an important thing to do, but
Yeah.
it's very difficult.
because
It
then
can
it
be.
becomes combative after that, if
Yeah.
you're not.
So,
So
but the part of that thing is, Mark, that has got to be set up ahead of time. When we're talking about becoming partners together, we're talking about, okay, so what we know is that everything that we've done before does not work. It gets us to a place where we need help. We need new things to do it. So you look at the past and you go, I, we got to stop doing that. We don't have to hash through it. We don't have to learn from it. We have to look at negative things that have happened in the past and say, how do we take these things and turn them into something positive? How do we learn from those things? And then when we learn from them, we can use what we learned to be able to care for the partnership. That's the whole thing. So we talk about this ahead of time, and we say, okay, so next time that we go to Aunt Sylvia's house, and we're starting to drink too much, or somebody or something happens, how can we handle that together? What do we do so that it protects our partnership? How do we handle, even if I don't like going to Aunt Sylvia's house, instead of me going there to meet Aunt Sylvia, who I absolutely can't stand, I'm going to go there for you. And I'm going to go there to protect my partner. Because if I protect my partner, then my partner is not upset. Then my partner feels connected. Then I get a better partner out of the deal. Remember, all of this stuff, the root of everything about partnership is to find your happiness. That's the bottom line. Everything that you're going to do is to find you're happy.
Isn't that why we get into the relationship in the first place, is to find the happiness? We're trying to search for something. So that's why we get into relationships, to find happy.
Well, and do you find, Ray, that most people, it seems that at the end of the day, the biggest issues in a relationship are not how we love, but how we fight.
Mm-hmm.
The loving is there. It's the fighting that, when we get into anxiety or whatever it is, and then we start fighting, that's when the problems arise. So what I hear you saying is setting these boundaries, these sort of rules ahead of time, so that when you're in that heated situation, you have tools to stop it.
Yeah. And if you have an understanding, if you talk about these things ahead of time, a person okay, so the two of you say to each other, I really do want a good partnership. I really do. So if something goes awry, if you get messed up, the first thing you can do is say to the other person, hang on a second, we said that we wanted to be partners, right? Right? We did. So we remind each other about that. And then that brings us to a place where we're going to deal with intention. And this is something, Mark, when we talked earlier, I was telling you about doing mushrooms and things, and the intention that somebody comes to it with. You're going to take something, you want something out of it, even if it's, I want everything out of it. Well, it doesn't have to be specific. But in a relationship, building a partnership, the intention is, I want to be happy. So is this going to make me happy? If we're arguing, then I want to find out something inside that argument, because I recognize that we're trying to be partners. So if we're arguing, there's something in it for us. This is not going to be arguing to find out who wins. It's not going to be arguing to piss each other off or to attack each other. We're going to start to argue, and we're going to start to recognize when there's a partnership that is really developed, we're going to start to recognize that arguing is an opportunity. It's going to present an opportunity for us to work together, get close to each other, and come to some kind of agreement about how we want to treat each other and how we want to be treated. So all of these things are learning experiences. I just had somebody the other day when they told me, how was your week? Week was great. Week was fantastic. Good. You had a really nice week. Yeah. Did you benefit from it? Well, what do you mean, did we benefit from it? Did you talk to each other about what you did or what you saw the other person do that made this a good week? Did you give it the same kind of effort you would if it was a lousy week? If it was a terrible week, you'd be in there, you'd be focused, you'd be working at it, trying to save this and trying to save that. Why don't you do that when it's good? You're trying to take negativity, and what happens with negativity is never supposed to be there to just be negative. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be there so you can learn something, so you can get closer, and then it turns negativity into something positive.
Always does.
One of the big things that I deal with, and this is a real crazy maker at first, was infidelity. There was a period that I probably had 7 people out of everyone that I was seeing during that month that were dealing with infidelity. And everybody says, infidelity's the end. You cheat on me, we're done. Everybody comes at that. And then they still come looking for help, so it's all a bunch of bull anyway.
Right.
there's a possibility that maybe this is going to be something good. So I tell them, and it's hard to hear, but I tell them that, and say, just work on your partnership, work on what each of you needed, and someday you're going to look at each other and say, you know something, if you hadn't screwed around, we would never be this close.
Mhm.
We would never have benefited from it. You know, everybody talks about the person who got cheated on. That's a big focus in relationships. How could they cheated on me? You broke my trust. You did all this kind of stuff. What is it about the person who did the cheating that has been missing? How long have they been suffering? What's been going on with them? What needs weren't being met? What inability did they have to communicate with each other? How alone were they? So inside a relationship, it's going to be two people bringing all this kind of stuff up. The partnership, it's two people addressing it and trying to fix it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So you wrote this book for a reason. What's the biggest takeaway that you want people to? What is your biggest take? What do you love most about this book you wrote?
I think that the book. Okay, so I recognize that it's time that this stuff is ready. I recognize that the information is ready. When I was working with people and coming out with really spectacular things, from my channeling, I would also hear something that said bigger than one, bigger than one. And it took a little time to really recognize it and really, really catch it, which means that this information is not supposed to be in an office with one person. This information has to be out there for the masses. And the reason for that is because right now, I don't know about statistics, but the statistics that I have on this is 70 to 80% of all relationships fail in the first year.
Oh,
And people
wow.
are no longer, like my dad and his parents and all that stuff. They were in relationships. It was a much simpler time. They learned how to tolerate each other. They didn't have all of this information that's available to us.
Oh, the distractions.
Men,
Or the choices.
yeah, and right now it's like men really have been shortchanged as far as what they can do inside a relationship. They're supposed to be strong. They're supposed to not all the bullshit that you have about men. It's terrible. All the stuff that you find out about women, it's terrible. We're supposed to learn how to use those kinds of things together, and benefit from that stuff. I told somebody, I don't know if you haven't gotten that far in the book, but there's something in the book that I think is really, really cool. And it really helps out, and it helps out both sides. It says something like, if you offer a woman a seat at the table, you'll get all of her gifts. If you make her fight for that seat at the table, then all she's going to do is fight you. If you recognize the value of having somebody in your life, if you recognize that what a man brings to a partnership, and a man recognizes what a woman brings to the partnership, that's what this book is about. This book is about telling people it's a new time. It's a new time. Forget about relationships; they don't work.
So how do you work with people? Do they come to you as a couple? Do you have some sort of program? How do you work with people?
It depends. It really depends on the initial, when I first meet them, it depends on what kind of trouble they're in. A lot of times I will offer people individual sessions, like 1 or 2 sessions individually, show them, point out what it is that they're thinking is doing to them, that, and to give them some other ideas. And then I bring them together with a different kind of focus. I try to alter their focus so that they recognize that, something, this partnership stuff is good.
Yeah, I
So
truly.
I'm not going.
I truly resonate with the big thing you say about partnerships and the yin and the yang and the women needs a man. I think the most successful anything you do, you need opposite pluralities. You just need a relationship together. You build
Yeah.
a lot better things this way, you know. Men
But you
we're
think,
not like we think we're smart, we think we powerful, we think we have this control, but at the end of the day, you need both.
the thing about partnership is that it relies on equality. It has to
Hmm.
be equal. So
Sure.
you may go out to the outside world and present, like I'm the man and she's my wife and all that. So you may present that way. But if you bring that to the partnership, if you bring that home, then your partner is not going to feel like a partner. Your partner is going to feel like a wife or all the stuff that they've not felt before. I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm
That's
going to be the man, okay, but I can't do that with her. I can't do that with my partner. She's got to
right.
be my partner, and and I have to really understand the value that she's bringing to it, and she understands my value too. You know.
When I'm going down that rabbit hole, that's when Michelle calls me Fred Flintstone.
I do. That is my name for him, Fred Flintstone. And he knows when he's acting like Fred Flintstone. I'm like, come on, Fred Flintstone. And he even looks like him. Like he's like in the act of looking like Fred Flintstone. Totally.
Fred. Fred can really be
I
an
do.
idiot.
When I get really pissed off at him, I call him Fred Flintstone.
And I can't come back and call her Betty or Wilma, you know?
That's funny, and I get it. I get it. So the thing about this is that Michelle, if you're calling him Fred Flintstone, it must be because there's something in this that you're looking for, something that you need, there's something that you want. You may
Yeah.
want you may want a communication. You may want an understanding of something. And here you have somebody that loves you, really does care about you. And when you're asking for those things, you know that he would give them if he could understand those things, if he would do it, So there must be something that's stopping, must be something going on that's stopping a person. So the best way I can tell you is connected to communication. You can tell somebody, I want you to communicate. I really need for you to communicate. Okay, they get that. And so they start to communicate. Okay, so you're really happy. All the things that were behind an inability to communicate never got addressed. Those things, there might be an insecurity, there might be a fear of being wrong, there might be, truthfulness, trying to be honest. There could be a lot of reasons that a person does not want to communicate. And if they start to communicate, you never get to those things. They don't get fixed, and they will come out some other way. Those kinds of things. So the idea is that, hey, Fred, listen to me. Why are you having trouble with this? Let's try and fix this. Let's try and address what's going on, and then let's see if you want to go break rocks with me. You see?
It
I
does.
see.
We're laughing, but it does. It makes perfect sense.
It does.
Yeah. It's funny because so much of this stuff, it just simply makes sense. I look at it a lot of times. I've had people say, well, it's just new. And I don't think it's new because it works in business. But this is a lot deeper than the partnership that you bring in business, because your personal happiness relies on this. This is important. This is like, if my partner is hurt, if my partner is suffering, it is going to affect me. And so I'm always going to go, what do I do? How do I do this? What do you need? I want to be able to learn how to trust each other. I think that trust is the way that we approach trust is for our own comfort. It has nothing to do with you. I just trust you because I'm your husband, I'm your wife, I'm supposed to trust. When you're in a partnership and you recognize that the person is really working towards having a good partnership because it benefits them, because it's important to them, because you're important to them, you can learn how to trust from that standpoint. I always feel like people will look at each other at some point working at partnership, and they'll look at each other and they don't even have to say it. They just look at the other person and they go, damn, he really wants this. He really focused on this. You know, I guess I can help them. I guess I can help her. I can, if they really want to be loved, if they really want to be connected, that sounds good to me. Okay. I'll learn how to do that. I'll learn how to help you so that you could be good to me.
Well, that's what she calls me, Igor. Oh, she calls me Fred and then Igor, so I know I'm doing well. I got all these nicknames.
Yeah, but Igor is love.
Well, at least in my old relationship, I'm not the asshole, the dick twat, and all these other things.
There's growth.
So I've evolved a long way, relationship-wise. So.
Oh my God. Well,
we have to make this sometimes unserious, Relationships don't always have to be like serious.
We have a lot of fun in our relationship.
We do.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Seriousness seems to have a need to be right there, or a need to focus on it. We're going to be serious about this, and that's bull. Who cares? Well, just let's fix it.
Put it to you this way, Ray. She has a lot of birthday parties when we go out to dinner.
Oh God!
Yeah,
especially
don't ever do it at Walmart, Texas Roadhouse. They make you get up and do.
It's always her birthday.
That's funny.
It is funny. I think you really nailed it in the beginning when it's. I think a lot of times at the end of the day, for women at least, we just want to be heard. I don't need the situation fixed, right? I mean, I was a single mom. I raised 3 kids by myself for 20 years with no one's help. I know how to fix the situation. What I need is just to be heard sometimes, right? And the man's innate thing is just to come in and fix, which is not a bad thing, but maybe that's not what we need. I don't need it to be fixed. I can fix it myself. I just want to be heard.
Men find out at some point that it doesn't pay to try and fix a woman. It doesn't pay, and so it's important to change that focus. To find out what she needs. Find out. Women are very complicated. I mean, they can come at you from 1,000 different directions, and every one of those things is beneficial when it comes down to, yeah, okay. So, look, I wrote the book, and I'm done. I'm finished with the book. I know what it says. I get it. Absolutely everything that I wanted it to say. Janet comes in and she says, don't send it in before I read it. And I'm still a guy, ruffled my feathers. Wait a second. She sees things differently than I do. She does. And I think in the first 4 pages, she looked at things and went, is this what you meant? And I went, yes, it's absolutely. Oh, no, maybe not. And,
well, that was my next question. Are you married?
We're coming up on 28 years.
There you go. That's beautiful.
So, yeah.
Did she read the book?
So, yes, she made it. She read it before she sent it into the publisher.
Yeah, we don't talk. You know what? A few months ago, I was sitting at the sofa and I went, "Damn, I don't understand how I can love her more." I don't get that. It's like it's deeper. I look at her and I go, that's my partner. I love the shit out of her. It's great. So am I allowed to curse?
Absolutely.
No, that's pretty fun. That's pretty.
Mark
that's-
said dick twat.
Okay. All right. Because
that is pretty cool though, Ray. 28 years,
Yeah,
good
that is
relationship.
very cool. Where
Yeah.
can somebody find you? How can we find you?
well,
On the
I'm
couch.
here. I'm here.
I got this.
Yeah, through the book, probably the easiest way. You could reach me. You can use my phone number, 602-487-4805. I'd be
I
happy
love
to
this
talk
guy.
to anybody. Sure.
Now you're gonna be getting all these auto warranty calls.
I get them already.
Me too.
Oh,
That is Mark. He talks to him.
oh God,
Oh yeah.
I
gotta touch
forget.
this
I forget the latest one is some connection to Medicare or something like that.
Yeah, that's
Oh, he got
Yeah,
it last
great,
night.
Yeah. So
Well, Ray,
So-
It has been a joy talking to
yeah,
you.
it's been a really good conversation. What is this right here, Brian? What's this?
that's my website. So,
What is the website called?
it's Inner Power Insights.
Okay, innerpowerinsights.com.
Well, you know what, Ray? We're looking for a website name. So if you have any ideas, let me know.
What was that? You're going to come up with a website
I
name?
need a website name. It's been
We need one.
bothering me for a few days.
Well, have me on again, and
Anytime.
We would love to have you on. I appreciate you coming on. I enjoyed your book, and Mark and I might come to you for some help someday.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If she calls me Fred enough.
Gina told me about you guys.
She
She
did.
warned me. She said, I don't know if you want to take them on.
We're a lot. We're a lot of
I
fun.
said, okie dokie. Yeah,
That's-
and next time I'll tell you about the generals.
The generals.
The generals who come in. Yeah, I would definitely am interested in learning about them.
generals, them. Yeah.
I love
'Cause,
Gina's good people.
Yeah, she's
Gina and
she's
Raoul.
a real good girl. Do you know Raoul too, right?
Yes,
I
we
do
love
very well.
Raoul.
Very well.
Yeah,
Wonderful
he's a lot of fun. They were great. They were great people. So
Well, you've been a
Guys,
great
thank you.
conversation today, Ray.
Yeah, thank you so much
Okay.
for coming on.
yeah, so thank you too, and
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
What a great guest today. Ray
Kapowski.
Yeah,
I like his name.
he is. He's a cool channeler.
Yeah, he was the cool guy. So just quickly, it kind of cracked me up. He's a cool channeler. Kind of cracked me up when he said, I've been sober. I haven't done that for
I know.
all those years. I wasn't going to get into it with him, but
Me
I'm
either.
thinking
It's the mindset.
it's the mindset. It is the mindset. But he was a very cool guy. I had heard about him before from Gina. She and Raoul had gone to him for it's not even about relationship help. It's about gaining tools so that you don't have to be in a place to get help. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like preventative care,
preventative care for the not the
Relationship.
relationship,
the partnership.
partnership.
Yeah, he was cool. I really liked him. We'll be in touch next time you act like Fred Flintstone.
What else good things do we got going on?
Let's see. We have got Mama Dose, our affiliate. She's coming out with some new cacao caps.
And all our
Got Mama Dose.
pretty great affiliates,
Yes, we've got lots of great affiliates. We've got Soulvine.
Soulvine.
We've got Kunta Katakuna.
Katakuna Hape and Shamanic Tools. We love those boys.
That's right. Mama
And
Dose.
Mama Dose.
Medicine with the Metals. Please subscribe. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. And then also, we want to start getting more psychedelic stories out there. So if
Yeah.
you're interested in telling your psychedelic story, just go to medicinewiththemetals.com. Scroll down to the bottom and click on it. Psychedelic Mondays with us, Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Stay tuned.
All right. I think that's all we got for today.
We didn't say Jimmy.
Jimmy. There's Jimmy.